Hello everyone, it is Tuesday, so that means Tag Tuesday. So today I'm going to be doing the time of day book tag. Basically there's a time of the day and then you name a book that goes along with that time of day. So let's get started. Number 1 is A Time to Wake Up. A genre that opened your eyes to a book that you hadn't previously read before. And for this book, I have to name the book that kind of started me off on my wanting to create a booktube channel. It was the first book that I had read in a really long time because I've been in college for 6 years and I just felt like I didn't have time to read leisurely. And that is November 9 by Colleen Hoover. I was watching my lovely friend Kayla on her booktube and she was talking all about Colleen Hoover and new adult. And I'm like, what is new adult? I've heard of young adult and I've heard of adult. I didn't know that new adult was a thing until she just kept talking about Colleen Hoover and everything like that. So I went on Amazon and I purchased November 9 and I read it in like 2 days. And I was like, I like this. This is something I can get down with. So definitely November 9 was the book that kind of opened me up to this genre of new adult that I didn't even know existed before. Number 2 is No Time for Breakfast, a book that's been sitting on your shelf for ages. And for this one, you can tell that it's really old, well, not really old, just really beaten up. And this one is The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. I got this book when I was a senior in high school, which I'm 24, so 2010, 2009, 2010. And it was for like a scholarship, like you could read the book and then write a paper over it, and then you could win a scholarship for it. I read like probably 3/4 of it and I just stopped and I was like, this is not worth it. This scholarship is not worth it. Number 3 is Time to Travel to Work, a book that you read while traveling. I think I was actually on a cruise to Mexico when this had came out and I took it with me and I read it on the cruise ship, I think. I could be wrong. But I do remember reading a Harry Potter book on a cruise ship when it had just come out. So I think this is it. But I can't remember. But Harry Potter is definitely a book that I like to read when I'm traveling because I've read them so many times. Everything can be going on around me and I can kind of pay attention to other things while I'm reading and still know what's going on in the story. Number 5 is Lunchtime, a quick and easy read. Definitely Paper Towns by John Green. This book was so quick to read, so easy to read, but it really kept my interest. I loved the characters, I loved the storyline, but it was just so easy to read, and for that, and not in a bad way, just it was so nice to read. Number 6 is Time for Your Performance Review, a book that you read because of a review. And for that, I chose The Love That Split the World by Emily Henry. I heard so many people talking about this book on BookTube. I read so many reviews on it on Goodreads. And so I was like, you know what? Enough people like this story that I'm going to pick it up. So I ordered it, read it, and loved it. Number 7 is A Time to Travel Home, a book that follows a character on some sort of journey. And for this, I chose a book that I haven't read yet, but I'm really anxious to read. And that is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. From what I gather about this is really like a getting to know yourself, coming of age type story about a character who's really sad and a character who's really angry, and then they come together and they kind of they find out who they are. And that's a journey to me. That's life. That's a journey. That's what life is all about, right? You know, finding yourself, discovering who you are. All right, number 8 is Dinner Time and Conversation, a book that you haven't heard people talk about that very much, but you loved. And for this, I have to go ahead and plug this book once again, A Head Full of Ghosts. I literally have heard no one on BookTube talk about this book, but it was so awesome, and I don't know why more people haven't read it. It's not like it's super old. It came out last year in 2015, so I just want everyone to read this book because I loved it and no one talks about it, but they should. Number 9 is Time to Zone Out in Front of the TV, your favorite book that's been turned into a movie or a TV show. And for this, I'm sorry, this is like the second time referencing it in this video, but I could literally not think of any other book. So, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. This was the first book that I ever read as a child. Well, not this beautiful copy because it wasn't made yet, but the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone was one of my fondest memories I have of reading as a child. My grandma started reading it to me, and then as more books come out and I developed as a reader, I would read to her. And I remember going and seeing this movie as a child and having been so wrapped up in the books. It was the first time I'd seen a movie that like I loved the books and was just crazy about the books, and it was just such an awesome experience. And when I think back over my childhood and even teenage years, I can think about those summers when the movies were coming out, when the books were coming out, standing in line at midnight to get the book or to go into and see the movie. So this is definitely, without a doubt, my favorite book, my favorite series that's been turned into a movie. Number 10 is Bedtime, a book that's currently sitting on your nightstand. And for me, that is what I'm currently reading, and it's City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. And you can kind of see where my bookmark is. I'm loving this story. I'm loving this world. I'm just loving this author. It's my first ever Cassandra Clare book, and I'm so excited that this is a big series that I can get into. But this is currently sitting on my nightstand. Well, not right now because it's in my hands, but it was before I went and got it for this video, and I love it. Number 11 is Nighttime, a book that you couldn't put down, so you stayed up way too late reading. And for this book, since I can't choose Harry Potter again, I'm gonna go with a book that I stayed up way too late reading, not because I liked it, because I hated it. And that was Reconstructed Amelia by Kimberly McCreight. I started reading this book and about halfway through, I realized how much I did not like this book. It was turning out to be very kind of ridiculous and unrealistic, but I refused to not finish it. Like, I didn't want to just DNF. Like, I really wanted to say that I read the whole book, and I tried. I remember at 3 o'clock in the morning, I was reading it, and I'm like, oh my God, come on. Let's just get through it. Let's just get through it. And I think I finished it at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, thank God. And then I still stayed up late to write a review on it because I didn't like it, so I wanted to write a bad review. But yes, I definitely stayed up way too late reading this book because I couldn't put it down, because I knew if I put it down that next day, there was no way in hell I would pick it up to read it again. Like, I knew I just needed to finish it or I wouldn't finish it at all. So yes. So that was my time of day book tag. If you have not yet done this tag, I tag you to do so. I will see you again very soon. Until then, happy reading, everyone!